Our way. It was a hot day today, but we are watching the threat of flooding, and really nothing has changed in our thinking. This system, regardless of development, is going to bring us quite a bit of rain, but spread out over several days. I'm hoping that the flooding threat will be a little bit more limited. Not to say that we won't see it, but hopefully not a widespread concern. Taking a look first with visible satellite, you could clearly see where that little surface circulation was able to move inland. Now, as I'd mentioned, where this invest symbol is right now is from noon. That was the placement from the Hurricane Center in their tropical weather update. We will get another update at about 7, hopefully before 7 p.m. That is where it was at about noon, inland now, and probably a little bit more mixed in with what is likely what had been more of a mid-level circulation, meaning there was a spin at the surface and then just aloft it was another spin. So it was kind of tilted, meaning this wasn't a well-organized system. Now from the Tampa radar, you can almost see around the Gainesville area what looks to be a little swirl there. There is still very much the possibility, this little circulation where it does try and form once it moves toward the Gulf, that it moves maybe a little bit more north and stays over land, which would be fantastic. Look at the winds around that mid-level or surface circulation on radar. The winds are only about 8 miles an hour, so this is not a well-organized system. Certainly a lot of thunderstorms around it, but far from being anywhere near a depression. So what are the forecast models calling for? Well, what had been a little bit more encouraging is that kind of motion either over land, again, that is still very much within the realm of possibilities, or just south and kind of hugging the coast. That's basically what the models are saying right now, with only one outlier trying to take the storm much farther down to the south. Point is, it would limit any real organization. Still a potential for a depression, maybe at the highest a storm, but the impacts have not changed. Still a big flooding concern, 2 to 6 plus inches of rainfall. Official wording from the Weather Service is 3 to 6, and we are under a flood watch starting at 1 o'clock tomorrow, continuing through Friday night. We'll begin later on Wednesday seeing those heavy rains move in. Lower threat of any flooding on Wednesday. That starts to become a little bit more elevated Thursday, and by Friday, a higher risk, officially marginal, or to me moderate, to areas to our west, but it does include parts of Terrebonne Parish. So that may be where we see most of our heavy rainfall, and then starting to shift even farther to the west and also moving north by Saturday as the system, whatever it is moving inland. This is the upper steering right now, and why we're expecting no real major changes. There is an upper level low to the south of this, as well as the upper high. Basically, our invest is kind of stuck in between. Unless this upper low sinks much farther to the south, this is not really going to be able to go very far south. And the upper high is fairly weak, so it looks like it's basically just hugging along the outer rim of the high and staying to the north of the low, basically squeezed in between, bringing it right into Louisiana. By Thursday, Friday, the upper low starts to lift north, and that's why we're expecting whatever is left of this to also be drawn northward and away from us. The European model, and I've also got our spaghetti plot painted in there. Notice no real organization going into tomorrow morning, kind of a broad surface trough. As we go a little bit farther into the future, now this is what we call the operational euro, what you typically see in just a normal forecast. But the ensemble, where the European model is run numerous times, is more in agreement with the spaghetti plot, keeping it much farther north. This one it would be much farther south from the consensus of the models. Again, that is a possibility, and any farther time or any longer period of time over water just gives it ample time to grow. That's what our precision cast model is thinking, that it stays more so over the open waters and more time to organize, more time to draw in more moisture, and maybe more of a wind threat as well as the rainfall. That is a little bit more of an outlier right now, as most of the models not grabbing onto that potential. Still more of a heavy rain threat, even if we were to see this become a depression or at the strongest a weak tropical storm. So those rounds of rain beginning on Wednesday, but I also think we're going to see plenty of breaks in the rain. So it's not going to be just a constant rain for the next 3 days. We will get some breaks here and there. Watch the forecast, because this is ever changing. Stream on WWL Plus and of course our weather app. We had a few showers around today, but the heat advisory, as temperatures felt more like 110. We'll start to get a break from the heat later tomorrow afternoon, evening, and then more rain Thursday and Friday, tapering off for the weekend, drier and hotter as we continue through next week.